Hello everybody and welcome back to Scandinavian Design 101. I'm Sanna.
I'm Andreas and we're two Swedes and we love design. And in this video we're going to talk about the Swedish designer Axel-Einar Hjorth, known around the world not least for his rustic looking pinewood furniture made by Nordiska Kompaniet in the 1920s and 30s. And many of his furniture are today well-known classics, but most people know very little about the person behind them. He's never had any children of his own, which could be one of the reasons why he was forgotten for some time, but luckily his works were rediscovered. And a main reason, I would say, why his works were rediscovered was a biography written by three guys. They were called...
So it's thanks to these people.
Christian Björk, Thomas Ekström and Ericson. And they wrote this biography about Axel-Einar Hjorth, called just Axel-Einar Hjorth, möbelarkitekt, furniture architect. But the problem is, this is out of print. There's also a pocket version of it, but it's also out of print. And it's,
we have both.
We have both.
Nice.
And the thing is, it's written in Swedish. But if you are interested in learning more about Axel-Einar Hjorth, it's a good idea to buy it anyway, because it's a lot of pictures and it's a short summary in English.
And how do you buy it if it's out of print?
Perhaps you can find it on some used bookstores online. I think it's often available there. This one was just out of print for like a year ago or something, so that's not that hard to find. This one is quite hard to find.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm gonna talk about when Axel-Einar was young. Axel-Einar Hjorth was born on the 7th of March in 1888, so that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
In the small parish of Krokek in central Sweden. He was the son of an unmarried young woman called Clara Matilda, and his father is listed as unknown. With an unemployed mother, the young Axel-Einar got a rough start in life. To earn money, the small family moved to the close-by city of Norrköping, where Clara Matilda got a low-paid job as a maid. The financial situation soon grew more desperate, and when Axel-Einar was 12 years old, his mother had to abandon him, placing him in foster care. This totally changed the life for the young boy. His new foster father was the warden at the Norrköping prison, a highly regarded job with a high salary. So suddenly Axel-Einar Hjorth belonged to the upper class with many more possibilities in life. In 1908 he turned 20 and moved to the Swedish capital, Stockholm, to do his mandatory military service, but also to study at the School of Arts, Crafts and Design to become a furniture architect.
Yeah.
He studied different subjects as art history, ornamentation, and drawing. And as a part of the education, he was allowed to exhibit some of his early works at the 1909 Stockholm exhibition. The press loved the works made by the young student, and according to some of his classmates, Axel-Einar started regarding himself superior to all his fellow students.
Oh, that sounds quite horrible.
Actually, yes. The foster father suddenly died in 1910 and left no financial support or heritage, so Axel-Einar was forced to leave school and start looking for a job.
And he started doing jobs for a few different furniture companies, among them C.E. Jonsson, a company later sold to the larger competitor Svenska Möbelfabrikerna in Bodafors. And when the company was sold, Axel-Einar was transferred to Svenska Möbelfabrikerna, and this was the start of a long and successful collaboration. The furniture he later will come to produce for Svenska Möbelfabrikerna were often highly traditional furniture with a slightly modern touch. And yeah, why not take a look at some of them?
1914, he got married with the upper-class woman Gunelia Westberg, and the marriage came to last for the rest of his life. At the same time, he also changed the spelling of his last name from Hjorth without an H to Hjorth with an H on the end. I suppose it sounded fancier, right?
Probably.
I think it sounds fancier.
It sounds like an upper-class Hjorth instead of a working-class Hjorth.
Why? I don't really know.
I know.
During this time, he started collaborating with Stockholms Hantverksförening, the Stockholm Society of Crafts and Design, an organization founded early in 1847 with the aim to promote crafts and support small industries. This organization came to produce his furniture for more than a decade and was hugely important for his development as a furniture designer. The furniture designed by Axel-Einar during this time had a neoclassical aesthetic, and he soon became known to mix different styles and materials. Most of the furniture were used as prizes in a hugely popular lottery arranged by the Stockholm Society of Crafts and Design. The furniture were exclusive and often one of a kind, and let's take a look at some of them.
An important milestone in his career was the Gothenburg Jubilee exhibition arranged in 1923 to celebrate the 300th anniversary of the founding of the city. The exhibition was planned to take place already in 1921, but due to the World War, it was postponed 2 years. It was a huge happening visited by over 4 million people. An impressive amount of people given the total population of Sweden at the time was less than 6 million, so it's almost everyone in Sweden, but that's not true, of course. It was
2/3.
Yeah, and a lot of people came
from abroad.
Several times and from abroad and so on, but 4 million people in a country with 6 million people, that's a lot. Among the visitors was Albert Einstein, who gave his official Nobel lecture at the Congress Hall during the exhibition after being awarded a 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics. And at the exhibition, Axel-Einar came in contact with some of Sweden's most influential designers, among them, Wilhelm Kåge, Gunnar Asplund, Edvard Hall, and Carl Bergsten. And this was before the breakthrough of functionalism in Sweden, and the focus was set on luxurious items and exclusive materials, much like the furniture Axel-Einar used to produce. And together with a colleague Carl Malmsten, Axel-Einar was responsible for the furniture by Svenska Möbelfabrikerna, but he was also given the important task of leading the assembly department, responsible for the placement of each piece of furniture at the whole exhibition. He came in contact with some of the most important furniture manufacturers at the time, and this was of course important for his further career as a designer. And now, let's take a look at some of the furniture Axel-Einar exhibited in Gothenburg. And nowadays, Axel-Einar is best known for his furniture made during his time as a chief designer at Nordiska Kompaniet, a position he got in 1927 and held for more than 10 years. At the time, Nordiska Kompaniet was the most exclusive furniture producer in Sweden, and furniture by Hjorth was exhibited at important fairs around the world. Among them the 1929 Barcelona World's Fair and of course the 1930 Stockholm exhibition. As a chief designer, he was also responsible for furnishing private homes as well as public spaces. He designed interiors of several hotels, cafes, stores, as well as the personal railway wagon for the Shah of Persia. It's a quite random commission.
Very random, but
it's a wonderful interior. And now we're going to show you some examples of furniture made for the exhibitions in Barcelona and Stockholm. Beyond all the furniture made for exhibitions and different commissions, Axel-Einar designed a long range of standard furniture found in the catalogues of Nordiska Kompaniet in the 1920s and 30s. And none of them were at the time sold as furniture by Axel-Einar Hjorth, but furniture by Nordiska Kompaniet. The designer's name weren't mentioned at all in the catalogues. It's important to understand that Axel-Einar had a lot of talented architects working for him, and it's very hard to tell which of the furniture were actually made by Axel-Einar himself. And sadly, the name of the designer can rarely be found on the sketches in the Nordiska Kompaniet archive. And now we're going to show you some of the models probably designed by Axel-Einar himself. Yeah, and we must mention the hugely popular furniture introduced by Axel-Einar in 1929. Sportstugemöbler, sport cabin furniture, or summer house furniture sometimes called. And they differed a lot from the exclusive furniture otherwise made by Nordiska Kompaniet. And instead of exclusive materials, solid pinewood was used. And their shape was inspired by traditional Swedish peasant furniture.
Peasant?
Yeah, it's peasant furniture. In Sweden we call it allmoge. And it's like the traditional furniture the farmers used to have. Yeah, on the countryside. Okay. So that's like these simple shapes.
But given a
more modern touch, of course. And it's also interesting, I think, to compare with the furniture later made by Charlotte Perriand. For example, it's very similar. And of course, even, Le Corbusier made this kind of furniture before. So it's a kind of furniture. They are like a given part of modernism, even though they are traditional furniture.
Weird.
And the reason why the range was introduced in the late 1920s can be explained by the political concept folkhemmet. And that means the people's home, something like that. Introduced by the Social Democratic Prime Minister Per Albin Hansson in 1928. And the base of the people's home vision was that the entire society ought to be like a family, where everybody contributes and also looks after one another. And the focus on people's well-being led to a shorter working day, and also paid vacations were introduced to the new middle class. As a result of this, the demand of simple furniture suitable for the summer house suddenly grew. And now, let's take a look at these sportstugemöbler.
Axel-Einar left Nordiska Kompaniet in the spring of 1938 to start his own business in Stockholm. It's a bit unclear why he left the job as chief architect, but it's important to note that the furniture department at Nordiska Kompaniet was a financial failure. As self-employed, Axel-Einar opened a store at the prominent address Kungsgatan in Stockholm. It's very central.
Yeah, the King Street.
The King Street, yes. Yeah. And for the first time in his life, he signed the furniture with his own signature. The ambitions were high, but the economical results was less impressive, sadly.
Yeah.
The outbreak of the Second World War resulted in a low demand for exclusive furniture, and it was suddenly impossible to import exotic timber from abroad. And without exotic timber, no exclusive furniture.
No, that's true. We just have this...
Pinewood is ugly.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, we don't like pinewood.
Axel-Einar was invited to attend the 1939 New York World's Fair, and hopeful of a new international success, he produced some furniture and shipped them to New York. Because of a careless shipping company, the furniture were left out in the rain and destroyed. A total disaster, worsening the already bad financial situation for Axel-Einar. And soon he had to close his store, and the following year customers had to pre-book appointments at the architect office located in the same building. Yeah. In the late 40s, he reached the bottom of his career. Yeah. In need of money, he had to take a job at AB Svenska Kontorsmöbelindustrier, Swedish Office Furniture Incorporated. Compared with the furniture he used to design for Nordiska Kompaniet and Svenska Möbelfabrikerna, these were boring and all but innovative. Yeah. And his wife died in 1958 and Axel-Einar died the year after. And after his death, it became known that his biological mother got another son called Edvin Allan, but the siblings never got to meet.
No.
So it's a quite sad story.
Yeah, it's sad end of, a great career. He was one of the most important persons in Swedish design history, but the end is sad.
It is.
And he was never really a part of this. He wasn't really meeting up with all these colleagues, also important in design history. So I think it's good that he's been rediscovered in later years.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that. But
does he?
Yeah. Yeah, but thanks a lot for watching this video.
Thank you.
And if you liked it, what should they do?
Click thumbs up.
Yeah.
And subscribe if you haven't already.
And of course, you should follow us on Instagram. We're called Scandinavian Design 101. Thanks a lot for watching.